Deep in the mountains stands a modest farmhouse, where a small boy named Noor takes care of his daily duties. He prepares medicine for his ill mother, and before continuing with his chores, promises her that he won't go beyond the barrier. He also mentions he'll catch some wild rabbits to make soup for dinner. His mother's health is in critical condition, and just before Noor leaves, she tells him to live his life the way he wants. That evening, as Noor finishes making the soup and brings it to his mother, he finds her dead. The next morning, he makes a grave for her next to his father's. The pain of loss is immeasurable, but Noor understands he has to keep going. He performs his daily duties of tending to the animals and catching his own meal. Afterward, he tidies the house and does some reading, but the house feels empty when you're alone there. In the evening, Noor looks through the top shelf and as he falls, manages to grab a book. Opening it, he finds the story of an adventurer slaying a dragon, the same tale his father used to tell him when he was little. The story emphasizes that no matter the predicament, adventurers will always defend the weak from evil. Remembering his mother's words, to live his life the way he wants, Noor decides to follow her advice. He stocks up the animal pen and says farewell to his mother and father, declaring that he will become an adventurer, before venturing towards the town for the first time. Noor finally steps beyond the safety of the barrier. That night, he doesn't sleep a wink, kept awake by the unfamiliar noises around him. At dawn, he finally spots the town. Asking for directions, he makes his way through the city, marveling at the vibrant culture, until he reaches the Adventurers Guild. Because of Noor's age, the guild clerk initially tells him to scram. However, upon learning that he's an orphan, the clerk changes his tune. He mentions a royal training school for different job classes, explaining that to register with the Adventurers Guild, Noor must first acquire a useful skill. Noor prioritizes the swordsman class, inspired by tales of adventurers who could fell dragons with a single strike. Through training, people acquire new skills, and as Noor sees others succeed, he hopes for the same. However, 3 months later, the only skill he has acquired is parry, a skill to evade an attack. The trainer tells him that's enough and any further training would be a waste of Noor's time. Determined, Noor moves on to the warrior class school, aiming to become a shield for his allies, pretty close to an adventurer. He endures excruciating training to strengthen his body, but after 3 more months, the only skill he acquires is a slight improvement in his physical abilities. The warriors deem him unsuitable for their class as well. Next, Noor tries the hunter class, but after 3 more months, he lacks any skill with a bow. The only thing he learns is how to throw rocks. Hoping the thieves class might suit him, Noor finds he is unable to disarm traps or sense anyone's presence, making it clear he can't become a spy. Desperate, Noor tries the magician's class, but after 3 months, his only skill is tiny flame. An old man, pouring salt on the wound, mentions it's rare to see someone so incapable. He then moves to the cleric class, but that ends the same, with his only skill being the ability to heal light scratches, a low-level healing spell. To conclude, Noor spent a full 3-month term at every training school, but he failed to acquire a single useful skill. The clerk regretfully informs him that he cannot be registered as an adventurer like that. Unfortunately, Noor is no prodigy. Returning home and standing by his parents' graves, Noor refuses to give up. He proclaims that he will train even harder. Remembering his swordsman instructor's advice that mastering one skill could lead to acquiring new ones, Noor focuses on practicing his parry skill. He repeatedly uses it on hanging branches, hoping for progress. 1 year later, Noor can evade 10 swords with a single breath, but still no new skills. 3 years later, he can parry 100 swords, yet no new abilities emerge. Undeterred, Noor decides to train even more intensely. 10 years later, Noor can parry 1,000 swords with a single breath. For 14 years, he trains every day, honing his parry skill to perfection, yet he still hasn't acquired any new skills. Noor decides to give it one last try. Back at the Adventurers Guild, he lists his skills: parry, physical enchantment, stone throw, feather step, tiny flame, and low heal. The new clerk, unimpressed, advises him to take classes, but Noor explains he's been to all of them. She informs him that, unfortunately, he can't become an adventurer. Suddenly, the old clerk steps in, recognizing Noor. They catch up, and Noor explains how he kept up with training on his own. But the best he could do was improve his parry skill. The old man explains that there are different ranks of adventurers. S rank is the highest, and E rank the lowest. To get into E rank, one must have at least one useful skill. However, there is another way, a rank lower than E rank, known as F rank. There are conditions, though. He can't take any quests involving killing, or venturing outside the city to gather items. He can only accept miscellaneous tasks around the city. Just as the clerk starts to explain how useless it is to become an adventurer at that rank, Noor eagerly agrees to it, leaving the old man speechless. He hands Noor his F-rank license, and Noor couldn't be more overjoyed. Over the next few weeks, Noor takes on quests involving transportation, finding missing cats, and other small tasks. He makes good use of his low-tier spells and shows off his precise rock-throwing skills. After each day, he continues to train, his hope once again reignited. And in a way, his dream to become an adventurer has come true, and he believes that anything beyond this might be asking too much. One day, while speeding up the workflow around town using his physical enchantment, Noor hears a girl calling for help and sees a spark in the distance. He immediately dashes towards a cave, where he finds a bound girl guarded by royal knights and a huge demon, which he mistakes for a cow since he has only read about them in books. The demon, wielding a huge axe, approaches the knights. The captain barely manages to throw the girl out of harm's way before being sliced in two. The rest of the knights are no match for the demon either, and they are all quickly defeated. As the demon turns its attention to the girl, Noor picks up a rock and throws it at the cow, catching its attention. He grabs a nearby sword as the enraged demon charges at him. Noor parries the demon's horns, but the attacks continue relentlessly. Without any offensive skills, he can only parry, and his sword begins to crumble under the demon's immense force. When the demon switches its focus back to the girl and starts charging, Noor uses Feather Step to make it in time to parry the attack. But the force destroys his sword. Even though he cannot officially become a real adventurer, Noor remains determined to protect the frightened girl in front of him. As the demon prepares to strike the final blow, using only the hilt of his sword, Noor parries the attack so forcefully that the demon's axe is dislodged from its hands, severing its own head. The girl's bonds disappear, and she expresses her deep gratitude to Noor. Curious, she asks for his name, but he only mutters that he's just an ordinary person. Before she can say more, additional knights arrive, and Noor silently slips away. Back in town, Noor reflects on how astonishing it is that a mere loose cow in the city, which wasn't even a demon, caused such a commotion. He knows he still has much training ahead of him. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this.